What is going on, y'all? It is Fargassier. Hopefully, you're having a great, wonderful day out there in the wasteland. Friends, we just had Season 17 released for Fallout 76, and a few seasons back, we took it upon ourselves to give ourselves the personal challenge of trying to reach rank 100 as quickly as possible. We got done with the new season, at least getting up to rank 100 this weekend during a stream, and y'all, it was so much fun, and I had so many people request how we did that, so I want to go over how to reset Westtech, why you would like to reset Westtech, and how you go about getting all of this XP out there in the wastelands of Appalachia. Y'all sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. Now, I want to give a big shout out to the Fallout 76 community, and without y'all, I would not actually know how to do this stuff because, like I always say, it's always a learning game. Try to learn something new every single day. Thanks so much to everybody out there in the community for helping me out with this past weekend, and along the way, just helping me learn so much stuff. Big thanks to Angry Turtle, Mr. Westtech, and Duchess Flame. Y'all's videos and articles are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the wealth of knowledge that y'all have. Y'all, let's get in here and talk about all the tips that my community and other creators have talked about doing to get the best XP out there in the wasteland. Now, you may be wondering, Gassy, why do I really want to run the Westtech experience over and over again like a Nelly song? Isn't there other ways that I can get XP out there in the wasteland? And the answer is yes, friends. You can definitely get XP out there in the wastelands of Appalachia, no absolute problem, but it's about being efficient, right? It's all about a numbers game. It's the learning thing. It's one of those things that the time in Westtech and the XP out is by far one of the best ways to get XP. Of course, you can do quests, you can do events out there in the wasteland, you could do the nuke runs and stuff like that. You could even go to Atlantic City with a full team or just by yourself, depending on how fast you can run it. For me and a couple of buddies that run the Most Sensational Game a lot, it's anywhere from, I think, like 4 to 6 or so minutes or something like that. And you get 20,000 XP for having a full team, and then whatever XP you get for taking out enemies and stuff inside of there. And the great thing about expeditions, don't get it twisted, is that you get stamps, you get modules, you get legendaries, you get ammo. There's so many great things about expeditions. We even streamed us doing expeditions for about 3 or 4 hours, and I do believe, I think we made it with our dailies and everything. I think we made it up to level 32 on the first day just doing expeditions, and it's a great fun way to break up the monotony. But with anything, it's all about being efficient if you're wanting to get it done as quickly as humanly possible. But just know that you can go do the Most Sensational Game, or you can do tax evasion. But personally, to me, I find the Most Sensational Game to be the fastest. But yeah, I mean, you get a lot of experience, and what I would suggest you do is be a casual team when you're doing it, but before you leave Atlantic City, make sure that you change it over to an expedition, and that way you can just get the bonus XP and everything from that. But yeah, you don't have to run Westtech experience over and over and over again, but it is by far the most efficient way to get XP and to make your way up to the rank 100 on the scoreboard. Now, you've heard me mention about getting to rank 100 as quickly as possible, and the reason for this is because on the scoreboard before rank 100, for every 10,000 XP that the player gets, you're actually going to earn score. But after you hit rank 100, the only way that you can get score and rank up is by doing your daily and weekly challenges. And now, since we're on the topic of daily and weekly challenges, this goes out to whether you're a casual player, a everyday player, or you are an absolute loot goblin and you do not touch grass. Friends, make sure that you are using your free rerollers that you get in Fallout 76. If you don't have Fallout First, you get 1 reroller, and if you have Fallout First, you get 2 free rerollers every single day in Fallout 76. And I like to use mine on the weekly challenges because if I am lucky enough and have that RNG chance, then the amount of score that gets bumped up because that weekly is now an epic is so much more than the daily. But remember, if there's ever a double score event and that only goes to your daily challenges, that does not touch your weekly challenges, it might actually behoove you to try your hand at getting an epic during a double score event on the dailies, because that is absolutely going to bump it up even more. And now if you're going to be running Westtech, there are a few different builds that you can do. Now this really regards if you're going to be doing it solo or if you're going to be doing it with someone else and you work on either a 1-thrower system or a 2-thrower system. And now what a 1 and 2-thrower system is exactly what it says in the name. Either there's one person throwing or there's two people throwing a grenade, and if you are the first thrower and there's two of you, make sure that you do not have Demo Expert on. You can have Grenadier on, that's no problem. Your explosion size and radius, that's no problem, but just make sure you don't have Demo Expert on, because the second thrower is there to have the Demo Expert and to basically clean up everything that was tagged. Now, as far as a build to maximize the amount of XP that you are getting out there in the wasteland, we're going to go over it in video format, but also check the description below. We're going to leave a link to a build on nukesanddragons.com, but intellect, maximize that out, because the thing you need to think about, more intellect means more XP, so we're going to max that out at 15, giving us a base intellect of 15. Then we're going to take the legendary perk card intellect, and if you have the perk coin points, make sure that you are leveling that up as high as possible, because maxed out that is a +5 to intellect. That gives you a base level of 20. And then next up, under charisma, I want you to pick up inspirational, because this, while you're on a team, is going to buff your XP gain by 15% while you are on a team. And then remember, there's another perk card that barely gets picked, and I know I never pick it, but it's under perception. It's called Night Person perk card. This perk card gives you a buff to your intellect and your perception from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and it's 3 intellect and 3 perception. So this right there, just between those times, now you would be at 23 intellect. And if you're going to be using bobbleheads and magazines, make sure, of course, you're picking up Curator inside of a lug, because this is going to make the bobbleheads and magazines last twice as long. And then if you're mutated, and I do suggest that you be mutated, we'll talk about mutations here very shortly, class freak, level that all the way up. It's under luck. The negative effects of your mutations are reduced by 75%, but you can also take serums every hour on the hour to negate that, and you don't have to choose that if you want to put it somewhere else. If you're using chems, Chem Fiend is a great card under endurance. Any chems that you take will have twice it'll last twice as long. And then also, again, if you're in a team and you've already got inspirational going, why not have strange in numbers if you're mutated? Because the positive mutation effects are 25% stronger if your teammates are honestly mutated as well. So why not pick these perk cards to help get you more XP out there in the wasteland by raising your intellect? And now another perk card that you definitely should be using is Fire in the Hole, because this is going to allow you to see the throwing arc of the thrown weapon, and this is going to help that grenade fly further. And now if you fully leveled up your legendary intellect perk card, but you still have some perk coins available, I would definitely level up Detonation Contagion, because as you level this up, enemies killed with a thrown explosive have a certain percentage chance to explode. On the first level, it is 20%. The second level is 30%. On the third level, it is 40%. And fully maxed out, it is a 50% chance to explode when enemies have been killed with a thrown explosive. And now, speaking of mutations that I think you should take, the first one being Egghead, because this is going to give you a +6 to your intellect. So if you have the Night Person and you have your legendary perk card all the way maxed up and you have your intellect maxed out right there, you were at 23 and now you're at 29. Next up, if you are going to be in a team, right, the herd mentality mutation, because this is going to give you a +2 to all your specials when you're in a team. So you were just at 29 and now you are at 31. And this next one is very subjective. Do you want to eat brain bombs and cranberry relish, or do you want to eat broiled Scorch Beast brain and tasty squirrels too? Because the herbivore mutation, where you can only get buffs from the vegetable side of things, but those buffs are doubled. Like, it's absolutely amazing. The benefits are absolutely great for choosing one or the other, especially in trying to get your intellect up. Or you can go carnivore. Now, for me personally, I am a carnivore user because I like brains, and that doesn't sound terrible at all. That doesn't sound like, I'm a dude from Silence of the Lambs at all. So, yeah, we're just the next topic. Now, you might be wondering what type of legendary effect you should have on your weapon. And for me personally, if it is just me throwing the grenades in Westtech, I like to have an instigating weapon. But if I am on a two-person system, the first person definitely just have like a vampire or something like that. And even this weekend with a two-person system going on our stream, we were just using the vampire's chainsaw and they were using a vampire's chainsaw, and we were racking up the XP like crazy. And now if you're rocking the combat armor, the leather armor, the marine armor, the metal raider, robot trapper, or even the scout armor, make sure that you are at least looking at the Biom Mesh, because this mod, when applied to the armor torso, it increases the duration of the chems that the player takes by 50%, and this does stack with Chem Fiend, as you can see working right here. It is absolutely amazing, and thank you so much to Stabby, another content creator that is a mod in our Discord and on our streams. If you'd like to join the Discord, it's in the description below, Vault645. But seriously, Stabby, thank you so much, and a link to her channel and the other content creators will be in the description below. Now, you may be wondering what type of legendary effects you should be running on your armor, and if you don't mind being a low health build, try to get some armor with the unyielding prefix on it, because if you have a full set of this and you are low health, that means you are going to have an extra 15 intelligence for a full set. And even if you can find some armor that has a +1 intelligence as the second star, that is going to be even better. That's like a perfect little XP farm. That's a +5 intelligence for that full set. So that is a +20 for just having those 2 stars. And now one thing that you may overlook is under armor. The shielded casual under armor can give you a +3 to your intellect. And if you don't have that, you can get a shielded vault suit as an under armor piece, and that will give you a +2 to your intellect. Now remember, shielded casual lining plans do have a chance to drop from Queen of the Hunt, but it's only a 5% chance, and that's if you've learned the treated lining casual under armor, the resistant lining, and the protective lining. The shielded vault suit lining plan is unlocked upon completing the main quest line, so it is an absolute great way to make sure that you are done with the story mode. That way you can at least bump your intellect up by +2. Now there is a way to double up on your XP, and that is by opening up lunch boxes. For every lunchbox that you open up to 4, you get 25% extra XP. So once you open 1, it's 25, open up 2, it's 50, 3, 75, and at 4 for an hour, it is 100%. So it is doubling up on your XP. And now you can open these whether you be by yourself, with your team, or on a public event. Me personally, I like to do them at public events. And remember, you can get lunchboxes not for atoms, but you can actually get them by turning in gold bullion with Samuel over at the Foundation. And personally, to me, that's the best option to do. And you're going to be able to buy 3 at a time, but just back out of the menu, and you can buy as many as you want as long as you have gold bullion. And also, don't be like me and forget to take your berry mentats almost all the time, because I had 100-something berry mentats when we started, and I think I ended at like 70-something in my inventory because I absolutely forgot to take my berry mentats. And if you don't know what berry mentats are, they're a wonderful little chem that is going to raise your intellect by 5. And now if you took the herbivore mutation, the magazine that you're going to want to have is the Live and Love 3 magazine, and this is going to boost the buff to the herbivore food. So like with the cranberry relish, you would, if you're a herbivore, you get 25% XP, right? But with Live and Love 3 active, you're actually getting 37.5% XP, and the same thing goes for brain bombs. Instead of 8 intellect, you're getting 11.25. And if you took carnivore, the magazine that you're going to want is the Backwoodsman 6 to give that same buff to carnivore foods. And the Tasty Squirrel Stew normally gives a 25% XP bonus, but with that magazine active, it actually gives you a 37.5. And if you are eating broiled scorched beef brains instead of 8 intellect, it's going to give you 11.25 intellect. And now as far as a Bubblehead, I like to use the Leader Bubblehead, giving you an extra 5% XP. And you can also use the Nuka-Cola Twist to get some extra intellect, but personally, I could not remember to take those or drink those, so I just never used them. Also, make sure that you're on a casual public team, because that that is going to develop bonds with other players. And as those bonds develop, you are going to get more intellect, meaning that you can get an extra 4 intellect for having a full team. Make sure also that you're sleeping, because getting a well-rested bonus means that you get an extra 5% XP. And did you remember about that Sacred Moth Tome that we just got? That extra 5% of XP that we got, like just for reading a book for like maybe 15 to 20 seconds. And then whether it be at your camp or at someone else's camp, the Mechanical Derby game will give you a buff to your intellect. But remember also, it's a great time when the Path of Enlightenment pops up, because we can sit there and talk to the Mothman at the end of that event and we'll get the 5% XP. But remember, that 5% XP from Path of Enlightenment and the 5% from the Sacred Mothman Tome do not mix. They do not Kamehameha, beam together, or, cross the streams, right? Don't, like, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. So you get one or the other. Personally, I like the Path of Enlightenment more, because I'm not just reading about the Mothman. I actually get to see the Mothman, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh, and speaking of saying hey to someone and interacting with them to get a 5% bonus XP is Steven Scarberry and Leo Petrov, some camp allies. So when you talk to them, interact with them, they will go through a bit to give you an extra bit of XP. And also make sure to be checking the description below, because we're going to leave a link to Duchess Flame's article going over the ultimate and only XP farming guide that you'll ever need in Fallout 76. She did just up this very recently, so make sure to check the description below. Seriously, Duchess Flame, thank you so much for all your hard work. And now, as far as resetting the instance inside of Westtech, there are 3 ways that you can go about this. First off, you can go in there solo and just run through it and then walk out and break down some weapons, turn in some script, go sell some gold bullion, run that nuke that you were just talking about running with your friends, or maybe even going to do an event out there in the wasteland. And then after a couple of minutes, your instance is going to be reset. It's not very efficient, but it is a way that you can run the Westtech instances and not absolutely do the same thing over and over again. And now you may be wondering where you want to place these nuclear grenades as you are clearing out Westtech, and I like to start in the leftmost room. So once we enter Westtech, we go into that single door right in front of us. We go to the left, and then we go down the hall on the right-hand side with the toxic goo on the floor. And then we notice there is a double set of doors that we have to open. There is a center column once you open those doors. I like to put the nuclear grenade right there at the base level of that center column, or just to the left of that. And once it explodes, it usually takes out all of the super mutants with Grenadier, Demo Expert, the Instigating Weapon, and the Detonation Contagion legendary effect card. That right there, that perk card is absolutely wonderful. But yeah, it normally takes out everything there. Then we take a right and we go down the ramp, and on the left hand side there is a single door that opens up, and there is a small little corridor with pillars on the right hand side. And what I like to do is I try to put the grenade right there at the back right pillar on that corridor, and then once I throw it, I just turn around, walk away, and usually that explosion with everything takes out every single super mutant in there. And then we just go right up those stairs, interact with the computer, and then you'll see a broken kind of ramp inside of the laboratory. We're just going to throw a nuclear grenade at that ramp just on the left hand side, and if the grenade doesn't disappear, you are going to have to move back a little bit. I always just move regardless if the grenade disappears in that little slot or not, just so I'm not getting any extra rads and I don't fall over on the floor. And now the second method will involve you having to do a little bit of story work with the Brotherhood of Steel before being able to reset it this way. But if you've done the Brotherhood of Steel quest line and you've finished everything through, you can go through the entire instance of Westtech, then go into the elevator that you have to go to for the reasons that you know, because you've already done the storyline, and we're not going to spoil it here, but you go all the way down to that terminal section, and you're down here for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. You just go down there and then make your way back up. And if you get back up and they are not reset, that means you weren't down there long enough. But when you come back up from the elevator and you see the super mutants, you will see that your instance of Westtech has actually been reset. Now, one thing that I will tell you about this method is you may notice that the doors disappear, but they're still there. So it may be a little bit visually buggy to your eyes, but it is a method that you can do over and over again. And it works, to quote a line from Anchorman, 60% of the time, it works every time. But it's more like 80-90% of the time that it works. But you do get those times where you get to go in and you get into a rhythm and then you're like, oh, spent too short of a time down there in the basement. Let me go back down there. And you can just rinse and repeat. You'll get the timing down perfectly fine. But yeah, this is the way that I used to do it. But this third method is absolutely amazing. And this method involves someone running Westtech with you. Friends, this is where we were talking about the one-party or two-party throwing system, because you are going to be changing over team lead to the other person after you're done with a Westtech run. That's right. All you got to do is change team lead from doing a Westtech run. Go in, do your normal run, the 30 seconds to a minute run, walk outside, and then change team lead again, and then just go right back in and do the same thing over and over again. No elevator needed. It is so much faster. You are resetting each other's instances as you are doing each other's instances. So it's absolutely amazing. And I was so happy that the community came together this weekend and helped me run Westtech this way. It was absolutely so wonderful to sit there and get to just hang out with people and talk while we did this Westtech grind. And I'm just so thankful that, honestly, it's a learning experience, because you can get frustrated and you get angry because somebody did something they weren't supposed to. But I work in education, and one thing that I absolutely love is the fact that we can have teachable moments, especially on stream or just anything, where it's one of those where it's like, oh, it's a light bulb moment. It's like, oh, I get it now. I understand. And it was like that for me. I'm very sure Knight Taylor was not very happy with me when he was showing me this method last year. It was like, I'm pretty sure he was like wanting to beat his head up against the wall, because sometimes I'm not the most observant person in the world. I mean, I did good with Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, but I wasn't the best person at keeping the oxen alive in Oregon Trail. I'm just saying, but you know, it's one of those things that I absolutely love this third method, because we get to do it not solo, but we get to do it with other vault dwellers out there in the wasteland. But hopefully this video helped you out, and don't be like me. Remember to take your berry mentats, and if you got the twist Nuka-Colas, make sure to use those and go talk to the camp allies, because I sure did not talk to a single camp ally. I did the derby, I did the sleeping, I did the path of enlightenments, and I did the sacred tomes and stuff like that, lunch boxes and all that. But I genuinely forgot to put on inspirational. Make fun of me in the comment section below if you got to this point, but I don't think I put on inspirational for the first 20 scoreboard levels. And yes, I definitely expect you to make fun of me. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to check this video out. Y'all have a great and wonderful day out there in the wasteland. Friends, if you hadn't seen the video where we go over the news for the week and give a shout out to some wonderful content creators, make sure to check that out right there. Thanks so much to the channel members for the continued support, and y'all have a great and wonderful day out there in the wasteland. Peace. Love ya.